All right, here we are. Lille, Cafe Africano, Stonetown, Zanzibar. Issa, what's going on? We are here. Lille, Sajikwa. Man, we are here for another episode of Breaking Fast. It's about 4 p.m. now, going on 5. Well, no, it's like 5 p.m. now. We're just here enjoying lunch, breaking fast. I haven't eaten today at all. I took some ibuprofen before, around 6 a.m. so I could sleep. I didn't sleep for a while, but so we here breaking fast, man. We just ordered the vegan sandwich. They had a vegan burger, but I guess they may have taken it off the menu. So luckily I did get videos of that, but I was hoping to do another video, But as you can see, they have all types of fresh options, fresh juices. Of course, everything is organic. But chips mayai. Make sure you try that when you come to Zanzibar. They got a whole menu. And guess what? They even take Bitcoin here. So I will be paying for our lunch date in Bitcoin. No cash necessary. See, they take Bitcoin here. And they got the QR code for the Instagram, so Facebook and all that good stuff. But okay, so Issa here is born in France, Lille, France. Your mom is from Ghana, Accra, Ghana, and your dad is from Martinique, the Caribbean. So wow, I mean that's like 3 different continents essentially: North America, Europe, and Africa. Wow. Okay, so First things first, talk about your experience in Zanzibar. How are you seeing it? How long have you been here?
So I've been here for 3 weeks now, and I think it's really amazing. It's the first place in the world where I felt like home. Yeah. So I think Zanzibar has a lot of culture, different cultures, a lot of different landscapes. It's like a lot of diversity. So that's what I really like about Zanzibar. And I think I'm going to stay longer than 3 weeks and extend my trip because it's really nice and you should check it out. And
speak a little bit louder.
Sorry.
No, that's all good. I'm pretty sure they can hear you, but it's bikes going by.
But it's really nice and you should check it out.
Okay. So you got here 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, 3 weeks ago.
So then you extended. You were supposed to leave earlier this week.
Yeah.
So damn. So if you would have left, we wouldn't have met.
Yeah, true.
That's crazy. So things happen for a reason. So you said you enjoy the diversity. You enjoy it. It's very peaceful, right? Very calm. And for me, that's what it was too. Like I was saying, I was here during Ramadan, so I know that it was just, even way more peaceful. It was less tourists during the rainy season, so it's just, the ultimate peace.
Yeah.
Okay, so your mother is from Ghana, your father is from Martinique. Talk about how that kind of influenced you growing up, and how often did you travel to each place, throughout your childhood up until now?
Yeah. So I traveled a lot in Martinique when I was younger.
A little bit louder, sorry.
I traveled a lot. I traveled a lot in Martinique when I was younger. Okay. But I didn't travel so much to Ghana until a few years ago. Okay.
How old were you?
I was 8 the first time I traveled to Ghana.
Okay.
But Martinique, I went there maybe 10 times.
Word, okay.
So,
before you were 8?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Just trying to paint the picture for people that, may move to certain areas and don't get to, maybe haven't had the opportunity to travel, for whatever reasons their parents, may have.
Yeah, I understand. Cool. So I was really influenced by Martinique culture because I was going there often. Yeah. But growing up, I just felt more connected to African culture. So I went to Ghana again, and now I just feel more connected to African culture than Martinique culture. So yeah.
Okay. And so in Martinique, is it more of do people see themselves as French, or how would a person from Martinique describe themselves? As I can imagine, the Caribbean's very multicultural, like you know, they have the Indian influences, African influences, and the indigenous influences. So how do people like in Martinique see themselves?
I think it's a little bit the same as here in Zanzibar, because like people from Zanzibar, they are like Zanzibari, but they are still like Tanzanian.
Right.
So like there is a small difference between like people from mainland in Tanzania and people from Zanzibar. And it's the same in Martinique. They are like French, but they are like from Martinique.
Right. Like we may speak French, but we have our own identity.
Yeah, and they also speak another language, like Creole.
Creole.
So they have like their own culture and their own identity.
Like Kalash.
Yeah.
Yo, Kalash. Yeah, Kalash is my favorite French artist. He's from Martinique. Shout out to Kalash, Mwaka Moon, you know what I'm saying? Mwaka Boss. Yeah, you know. But okay, so so that's very insightful. So as far as Ghana, you traveled to Ghana the first time when you were 8 years old.
Yeah.
So how many times in between then and now?
Only 2 times.
Only 2 times.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wanted to go more times, but the prices of the plane tickets are too expensive.
It's more expensive than going to Martinique?
Huh. Yeah, I think so.
I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one because I've found flights round trip flights between Paris and Accra for like 300, maybe even 200, depending on the season. Secret flying is where you want to check. Have you heard of secret flying?
No.
Okay, boom. Okay,
yeah,
so I'm putting you on. Okay, yeah. So, but usually they do those prices for like 7-day, 10-day, or 14-day trips. So sometimes even 21-day trips, depending on like your connecting flight and stuff. But usually they do it with one airline, usually like TAP Portugal or Air France. You know, either one of those. But I flew TAP Portugal. That's where I found my flight through, which is actually one of my favorite airlines. You know, they really look out for you as far as like meal vouchers on your layovers, accommodations. TAP Portugal really took care of me when I was in Cape Verde, and I had like I got caught in there was like a sandstorm that I found out later, like the week after, that blew over from Mauritania, which was crazy, right? From Mauritania, Senegal area. And by the time it got to Cape Verde, like it makes the sky like very like dusty, cloudy, stuff like that. So planes just aren't able to fly, I'm assuming, or just are aware of take proper safety precautions and stuff like that. But TAP Portugal put me up in one of the best resorts in Praia, Cape Verde, on Santiago Island, because everybody knows, or people should know, that Sal Island, or Cape Verdean friends, please help me. What island is Sal on? But Sal is where the tourists mostly go. That's where most of the resorts and restaurants and that kind of thing. Praia is a little, they got a little something, but it's not the tourist destination normally, typically. But okay, so back to you.
Hey.
Wow, okay, so you've only been to Ghana twice since then. Okay. And so we were talking about how important it is for you to get your Ghanaian citizenship. Yeah. Because your mother was born there, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so and your grandparents, are they still around?
Yeah. One of my grandparents is still in Ghana. Okay. And the other one is in France.
Okay, so you were able to talk with them growing up, and so do they still speak Ghana? Tree? No?
They only speak French to me, so.
Okay, wow, okay. See, that typically happens, when people migrate, which is understandable, but it's I think it's very important to kind of maybe try to relearn, so that generation can pick up on it. Your next generation. Okay, so one of your grandparents is in France. Yeah. Another is in Ghana. Okay. And you've only been to Ghana twice since the age of 8.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was just explaining that I think it's very important for her to get her Ghanaian citizenship because she didn't think she was eligible for it, being that her mom had never held it since, I'm sure, maybe a child. But she's still a Ghanaian citizen. I'm sure her French passport says born in Accra, Ghana, right? Right. So so boom. So that's all you need is her French passport and her birth certificate, because it'll, no matter where you're born at, and no matter how many other passports you get or where you migrate to, it's always going to say where you're born. So not many people, realize that. So I just had to shed that light on it because for the past year and a half since this whole pandemic started, that we can't keep relying, as our generation, is coming up and raising the next, generation and influencing the next generation. I think it's just very important that, we get back in touch with our roots, as I have, with my Ghanaian roots and so forth and so on. It's just very important. So especially for, my other fellow Black Americans, because a lot of us don't know where we come from. So for people out there that do know where they come from, whether it's your parents, your grandparents, or maybe even great-grandparents, that are first, second, or third generation French, Canadian, British, whatever, what have you, really, tap into that, reach out to those relatives you may have not even spoken to ever in your life, and just, maybe try to get some stories or just more history about your family. And that way you feel more connected to that. Even if you don't plan on moving back, like nobody's saying, get up, pack up and move back. Just, just get that citizenship. Do it for your future generations, because you might be in your generation now where that cutoff date is made, as far as like, because I think most European countries, they cut off their citizenship by ancestry. I don't think they ever cut it off in Africa, not that I've heard of, as far as you can trace back, as long as you have the documents, like whether it's marriage certificates, birth certificates, things like that, proving your Ghanaian ancestry or Nigerian ancestry or, even Kenyan ancestry, what have you. I don't think there's really any cutoff, but I know certain other European countries like Italy, Germany, Austria, Hungary, UK, even Lithuania, countries like that, they don't cut off their citizenship by ancestry until like their great-grandparents. So I can imagine, Africa's a little more lenient in realizing that, descendants, were enslaved, captured, sold, and transported around the world. So even if you may not be in North or South America, throughout, Asia, really try to tap into where you think you may come from, or try to ask, reach out to those elders and those relatives you haven't called or spoken to ever or in a while, or, only on the holidays, But, okay, so back to you. Wow, so,
Can I just say something?
Oh yeah, go ahead, yeah.
It's really interesting what you say about like tapping into like your history and your relatives, because I didn't go to Ghana often, but I lived in Uganda for 3 months.
Right, okay.
And it allowed me to like connect with my family in another way, because I saw like some people living like my grandma lived, and some children like selling things on the road like my mom used to do when she was little, and I just felt like more connected to my history. And I was just there like, wow, like this is where I come from, like even if it's not my country, like it's the continent.
Right.
I feel like
the mannerisms are the same. You see that, and I even see that like between like so my birth father, his family's from South Carolina, which is along the eastern coast. You've been to the US. We're gonna talk about that too. So I mean, even on the countryside, like the way their house is built, like how handy my grandfather was in building, his, like, they have a farm, so he built like, the chicken coops and sheds and stuff with his, with his bare hands. And it just goes to show that even just on the coast, there's a I don't know what you would call it, but like the Gullah, it's called Gullah Geechee people, that most were taken from West Africa and were able to keep in contact with that culture. As far as the language too, like if you go to those areas like the Low Country or the Low Country of South Carolina, the people, their English is a little bit different. It sounds like Creole or maybe like patois from Jamaica a little bit. Yeah, it's like a broken English. Like it's a little bit hard to understand. Like my grandparents are a little more inland than from where the coastal area is, but they've been there for generations. So I can imagine, that. So my father's side, I've been able to trace like to like the 1870s. So, and they've been in South Carolina since then. So I can imagine like they maybe that's one generation or two away from where they were, transported from. I can imagine it's maybe, somewhere along the west, the west coast of Africa. So yeah, so talk more about your experience in Uganda. How was that, and what were you doing there?
I was working like in a company, like an NGO.
Okay.
For like children, to help them like read more and develop the early literacy there. So we help them like go to school and give them books and like just to develop their mind and their just awareness about just literature in like general. I'm going to speak louder. But yeah, I was there for this for 3 months, and my overall experience was really good because it was just, I just felt connected to the country, to the continent, and I was like, I felt not home, but like I know this place, but I've never been there before.
It's like deja vu. And
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm telling you, and that's what it is for a lot of Black Americans too. Like when they take that first trip, they talk about the peace of mind, and depending on where they're from in the States, if they're from that southern region, like from like like Texas to up to like Maryland, maybe. A lot of us come from those like southern environments, or parents who may have migrated to the West Coast, California, or to the northern area for jobs and what have you. Post Jim Crow era and Reconstruction, a lot of those people still have those mannerisms in their elders, like their grandmother still cook, a certain way, that kind of stuff. Like especially Louisiana, New Orleans, Mississippi, that whole coast is as very culturally intact with where they came from. So there's certain areas in the U.S. where Black people are intact with where they came from in their history, as far as where America started, and even to some of us being indigenous to America, and Black Indians. A lot of us don't know where that comes from, and we're not even able to benefit from from those things that come with that, as far as entitlements to land and different things like that. Like they've kept us ignorant away from that. They've kept us ignorant from that on purpose. But okay, so you were in Uganda for 3 months before you came to Tanzania.
It was like.
Or did you go back to France and then come?
Back to France.
Oh, okay. So you went back to France and then.
For like the summer to work, and then I.
Ah, okay, cool. Okay, so you was just like, okay, I'm just coming here to get these euros, and then we going back to shillings. Okay. So that's dope. That's cool. What kind of work were you doing?
In France?
Yeah.
I was just like doing small works, like answering the phone, welcoming clients in companies.
Oh, okay. Customer service. Okay, cool. That's cool. That's cool. Nice. You were working in Lille or Paris?
Yeah, in Lille.
Okay, Lille. Okay, cool. Okay, so talk about Lille. I've met a few friends through. Just want to switch it real quick, but I've met a few friends who are from Lille through my times in Paris, and we even spoke about like how I was, wanting to live in Paris at a certain point, because it reminded me so much of like just it reminded me of US and Canada, or Toronto specifically, and like my time in LA, just as far as like like young people all supporting each other from different backgrounds, really trying to make life happen in this new digital age, trying to figure ourselves out, and just really coming of age into adults now. So I really got that. And so the people that I was meeting were from Lille, from Reims. Shout out to Reims, the homie, what I'm saying, LAD, all my guys, UVD, Syrup. I think those guys are from the outskirts of Paris, but shout out to Wizman, what I'm saying, all my Paris guys, Aussie, man, shout out to the whole, Louvre de Paris. Sorry if I'm saying that right. What I'm saying? My French is, a little, but shout out to all those guys that really showed me a good time. I was just explaining to how in love, like within like the first week, like I was just taken out to different parts of Paris, and just like, once you get over the touristy parts, like, I think my second day I went, up to the Eiffel Tower and shit like that. And, it was cool. I, took the, once you get your pictures and, share them with your family and friends and that kind of stuff, you really get over that. You may not see Paris for what it is if you don't meet the right people or have the right people around you. So, so Lille. So talk about Lille, and how is Lille? Like, is it as diverse as Paris maybe, or, okay.
I think Lille is like diverse, but in the French people kind of way, not in the like tourist way like Paris.
Yeah.
Because in Lille there are a lot of people from Africa, like from North Africa or like just general Africa. And so it's really nice because you feel like home in some way, because there are just not like all white people. Like maybe like in south of France there's a lot of like just white people, French people, but in Lille it's more diverse, and that's what I like about it. And it's also a really underrated city because it's really pretty. Like the architecture is really nice, but tourists don't come there because it's just like Paris.
Word. Yeah, I never got a chance to go to Lille. I passed through Strasbourg. Strasbourg is pretty nice. Yeah, I'm like, you know, because for me, when I was trying to be an au pair and shit, you know, I was just like, Paris. Like, and, you know, the competition in Paris is so much. And like, I remember there was a family in Toulouse that wanted, you know, to interview me. They wanted me to come to Toulouse and shit. And I was just like,
You should have.
I know. You know, when I think about life now and like how much, like, I don't really care much for the big cities, like, now I kind of understand that, you know, a small city wouldn't be bad, and especially when you're not that far away, you know. It's easy to just, you know, make that transit for the weekend or vacation, holiday, or what have you.
And Lille is only 1 hour train from Paris.
So you know, you live and you learn. You live and you learn. So growing up, did you? I know in Paris too, or in France in general, they don't really do like how we do in America, as far as like, oh, we're Asian American, we're Black American, you guys don't do hyphenates. Everybody just says they're French for the most part. So kind of talk about that and how you were still able to find yourself culturally, being that, I mean, obviously you were still able to, you know, you had the we'll call it the luxury of traveling to where your parents were from, because you know a lot of people, you know, get that opportunity. But so talk about like how that is in France compared to America, and you growing up. Vegan sandwich, avocado, tomato, peppers, onions, nice, and some chipsy. Okay, so we'll move that menu out the way a little bit, but okay, we'll wrap this up so we can, you know, eat. We'll eat while we're talking, but yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you can.
So I can talk?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, go ahead.
So for me, it's really interesting because when I was in France, I was just there like, I'm French.
Right.
When people ask me like, where are you from? I'm French. I'm from Lille. That's what I was saying.
Right.
And it's only when I traveled that I realized that I'm not from France. Like, I'm from France, but I'm from Ghana and I'm from Martinique too.
Right, yeah.
And even here, people ask me like, where are you from? I say France, and they say, yeah, but where are you from?
Yeah.
They say like Ghana, and I say, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Like, I felt the difference when I was in France and when I'm traveling, and the fact that I traveled, it's like really beneficial to me to like connect to my roots and just say like, I'm French, but I'm also like from Ghana and from Martinique. So that was like really nice for me too. So
and what do you know, like what age you kind of became aware of, like, I mean, although you were taking your trips, do you know like what age you really became aware that I'm not just French? Like, I don't, like, do you identify, do you feel that you're French? Or like, do you know, like when you travel to these, like, well, Martinique, they still are under French rule or whatever. But did you necessarily feel like you didn't belong, or like how old are you when you went to Ghana the second time?
It was a few years ago. I was like 20, something like this.
Oh, okay. So at that point, did you feel like you were French? I mean, because you maybe because you didn't speak the language.
Yeah.
So did you feel like a foreigner?
Yeah.
In that regard? Okay.
People think I'm just like, that's the problem. When I'm in France, I'm black, but when I'm in Africa, I'm white. So I'm just there like, no.
Yeah.
Like, that's the reason why I cannot like feel like I'm home.
Yeah.
Because people just take me as white.
Right. Yeah.
So like that's just
and that's something too that that's something too that a lot of Black Americans struggle with. Like they feel like when they move to different countries in Africa, especially over the past year and a half, you know, a lot of us were just getting up and you know getting out of there. But a lot of us were feeling like because we have a certain pride about being Black and knowing that we come from Africa, you know, and certain things like that. But when you come actually take that first trip to the continent, which not many people do, even though we still, you know, like to wear our dashikis and our, you know, red, black, and green colors and our kufis and, you know, different things like that. African medallions, you know, jewelry, stuff like that. a lot of people got a wake-up call. Like, they didn't understand, like, how some people didn't see them as African. When that's only culturally. They don't see you as African culturally, which is completely understandable. Like, because you don't speak the language, you know, it's, you know, in your mannerisms and different things like that.
Yeah.
So, I think that, Asante, I think that when people got that wake-up call, they a lot of them got scared and like went back, or maybe chose another country, whether they started in Ghana or came to Tanzania, or some started in Tanzania, went to Ghana or Gambia or Senegal, you know, where we definitely don't speak any of the languages.
Yeah.
You know, they speak French too, but yeah, a lot of people, when they talk about their experience, they kind of got scared off, and I'm just like, why would you allow people to do that? Like, I guess some people just don't know themselves as well as they thought they did. Because for me, I understand that, like, yeah, of course I don't know where I come from. Like, I'm, you know, like, that's just what has happened to us, our history in America. And I think a lot of people don't understand it fully, like, to the point where they are getting reacclimated to, you know, to the motherland, to the continent. So I would just say, like, you know, don't let that discourage you from coming back or staying and fighting, because, I mean, like with my generation, people that are, you know, moving back or planning to relocate, that's really the only matter of the generation. Like, my children are going to be more African than me, or whatever you want to call it, you know. Yeah. Their first language is going to be Swahili or Twi, or, you know, what have you. Like, so that just doesn't affect me. And when you come in contact with those people that try to do that, because it's more of like, some people try to do it to play games with you, and, you know, it's just something that people do, and you kind of will realize that the more you have conversations with people, you kind of know where they're going, depending on the kind of questions they're asking you and stuff like that. So it's just something I picked up on from, you know, from being here for and being in the different countries for as far as like Ghana, Sierra Leone, and Tanzania, because Cape Verde is a little different. Cape Verde, you know, everybody's Creole, you know, so they're a little more, you know, they know that they black, you know, they definitely they down with the program, you know. I'm a little thirsty. But yeah, just don't let that discourage you, you know. You know, just read up a little bit more, or just ignore them, you know. Don't allow those people to deter you from having your peace of mind, like, or making you feel like you don't fit in. Like, people, I've heard that, like, yeah, I may not speak the language, but phenotypically, I mean, nose to lip ratio, I mean, as you can see, I'm African. Because I can tell you what, they do not care what you call yourself. They see us all as one. And that's a fact. And that's something you would definitely learn in America. Like, they do not care where you come from. If you Cape Verdean, if you Ghanaian, from Guyanese, if you Blackanese, they don't care as long as you got this melanin. Oh, hey, look, hey, by the way, check your boobies, check yourself, keep abreast. It is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. One of my great aunts is a breast cancer survivor, so ladies, please make sure you go tell an auntie, sister, cousin, niece, and fellows, your side pieces, go get checked. But anyway, yeah, they don't care as long as you got this melanin, you know what I'm saying? They don't care where you think you from, or where you call, or what you call yourself. They just know you are Negro, Negra, Negrito, Nigga, Nigger, what is it in French? Noir? Yeah, you're noir. I don't think you can. In French, it doesn't really sound good. Like, maybe in Spanish, Negro, yeah, a little bit, but even then, that's kind of light. So, yeah, man, just don't let that deter you. But so we're finna enjoy this lunch, and so our food doesn't get cold. But thank you for sharing your experience. This is the longest episode I've had so far, and maybe we'll do a part 2 somewhere, something, or expand on more of these topics. But this was kind of long, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope the audio was, you know, a little good enough. She's a little soft-spoken. Sorry. No, it's all good. We'll get through it. You know, if I have to type it up, I will. I actually probably will script it out for a blog as well. Because I think this is very important. I think just the documentation of it, any way we can kind of spread this message of, hey, get your citizenship, your dual citizenship, especially if your country does dual citizenship. Like, do that. And most of them do. The Canadas, UKs, US, all throughout South America. So, yeah, all throughout Europe for the most part, except for Poland and Austria, I think, maybe. Yeah, this is like very few countries that that don't allow dual citizenship in Europe, but more are like opening up to the fact because they realize how important it is. So yeah, this was Breaking Fast. Preparing to eat now, my first meal of the day. We're in Stonetown, AfriCafe, and peace. Karibuni. Badai, Rafiki.